and sit on down.
So here's the French toast. We all live in a Pokemon world, but what does that really mean? I mean, if we look at the real world areas and their Pokemon counterparts, only about 3% of the Earth has been turned into a Pokemon region. That leaves us wondering, is the Pokemon world so much smaller than our real world, or are there just areas that the Pokemon Company hasn't allowed us to traverse yet? That's kind of what we're thinking about today, looking at areas that the Pokemon Company has decided not to make regions out of, but even bigger and more important, the regions that will never become official Pokemon areas to explore. I'm really excited about this because it gives us a new way of looking not just at Pokemon, but at the lore of the Pokemon world as a whole. Putting aside time travel hijinks and multiversal shenanigans, yes, the Legend games have allowed us to look at different variations of already existing regions, but what about those that we can't explore? Those that are hidden from our purview? That's what we're doing today. So without much further ado, let's hop right into today's video. Hi, I'm the Thesterninator, but my friends call me Stern. Welcome to the channel. While you're here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff that makes me and YouTube happy, and let's cross some borders as a family. As it currently stands, there are 9 Pokemon regions, each with a real-world counterpart. Just going down the list, Kanto is based on the real-life Kanto region of Japan, Johto is Kansai, also in Japan, and Hoenn is based on Kyushu. Sinnoh as well as Hisui are based on modern and ancient Hokkaido. After that, we jump out of Japan, with Unova breaking the mold and working as this rough restart of the initial 151, with Unova based on the United States and specifically New York. This trend continues with Kalos being based on France, Alola on Hawaii, Galar on the UK, and Paldea based on Spain. Now, as a Fakemon creator, I've had my fair share of Fakemon regions. It's damn near mandatory at this point in the fandom. We've seen regions like the Maza region, based on Mexico and developed by Jack over at Subjectively. Loxton fleshed out the Cascade region based on the Pacific Northwest, and Ron from True Green 7 has the Assone region based on the Middle East. So many creators dream of the day where the official Pokemon Company can take on their home as a region, or even just a place that they're interested in. Please, oh 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 please. But with 195 countries, there have to be at least a few that Pokemon won't touch, and that most Fakemon artists won't either. But I'm no typical Fakemon artist, no, I'm built different, I'm built wrong. And so let's run down the list of countries that the Pokemon Company will not be making regions for. But first, how does a country come to be? Well, you see, when a mommy country and a daddy country love each other very much, they declare their independence and follow a list of requirements needed to regulate what defines a country, nation, or sovereign state. According to the 1933 Montevideo Convention, a country must encompass a defined area, have a permanent population, and have a government that is capable of interacting with other states. Now, this doesn't seem like a very rigid definition, and that's because it's not. This has led some people, like former radio DJ Randy Williams, to create his own sovereign nation in the California desert, lovingly named after his love of slow jams. Yes, I'm talking about Slow Jamistan. It has its own flag, its own currency, a national anthem, time zone, and 12 states, with Randy declaring independence December 1st of 2021. What better place to start with than creating a mythical Pokemon based on the national animal featured on the Slow Jamistan coat of arms? What better animal to represent this and pull together this assortment of trash into a recognizable nation than the Trash Panda itself? Yes, the humble raccoon. We don't really have a raccoon-based mythical Pokemon, with many being based on ideas more than actual animals or objects. But this does give us a base to go off of, and combining the idea of a raccoon with the concepts of freedom, liberation, and independence kind of just seems to fit perfectly. Great job, Randy! Let's take a closer look at the design on this one. I wanted to incorporate that sense of malicious compliance and chaotic justice feel over the skin of a raccoon. Gross. Using the colors of the Slow Jamistan national flag, this is going to give us a little bit more vibrancy to the design and make it feel a little bit more exciting. I'm kind of hoping that I didn't bite off more than I can chew on this one, as there are a lot of elements that I wanted to bring in, but no real plan going in on how to make them and pull them together in a cohesive way. I looked at Pokemon like Mew, Victini, and the Lake Trio as examples with that pixie-like body, but none of them really captured that vibe that I was going for, and so I kind of had to Well, I had to start from scratch. That's going to be an ongoing theme throughout most of the designs in this video, but I still wanted to retain the knowledge going into the look with those references. I found that creating a box for the layout of these Pokemon worked as a base, but allowing the freedom that comes with this exercise and giving myself permission to break some of those established norms and to break the bounds of that box gave some better designs overall. Too long didn't read, build yourself a box where you can put all of your ideas and concepts and what you want to do with stuff that makes sense, then find ways where you can break that box, puncture some holes, bring a sharp tool so that you can cut that box away. I picture this Pokemon with a weird sense of justice, moving fate in ways that allow for a proper outcome, but the pathway that gets you there may not be exactly the one that you were hoping for. A guardian of justice and liberation no matter the cost. Seems dark when I put it that way, but then again, most of the mythics I base this guy on do have that prankster energy about them. Speaking of which, I have no idea where I want to go with this Pokemon's ability. Let me know down in the comments what ability you'd give this guy and the rest in the video. Light Forest Strider did an awesome job in our Plants vs. Zombies video, with this one for our Chomper-based Pokemon. Slow Start is one of my favorite abilities for powerful Pokemon, and it just makes sense given the inspiration here. So let me know of existing abilities or new ones that you come up with down in the comments below. Libaroom, the Liberation Pokemon. Stories have long been said of this Pokemon appearing during times of crisis. Some researchers have documented its tail or ears in the background of old photos taken just prior to countries gaining independence. While it has become a symbol of change, it has also become a symbol of the devastation that usually comes prior to these tremendous outcomes. Ah, Greenland. Rolling hills of lush grass, a crystal blue sky with sunshine hitting every flower and blade of grass that calls this lovely island home. The beautiful... Quite literally the oldest trick in the book. Yeah, Greenland fits perfectly in that Venn diagram of not green, but as the Self-Government Act of 2009, technically it is its own land. Well, not technically its own country. This act includes provisions for Greenland to achieve full independence. It requires a referendum in Greenland and negotiations with Denmark, with final approval from both the Greenlandic Parliament, also known as the Inatsisartut, and the Danish Parliament known as... What? No, that's just the name of the Danish Parliament. The Danish Parliament, also known as... Look, I'm just saying the name of the Danish Parliament. It's Folketing. And this is Folketing ridiculous. While part of Denmark negotiations are constant, there's a draft constitution presented in 2023, so maybe we'll see Generation 24 or 25 in this icy winter wonderland. But in the meantime, it's no dice, and so perfect for this video. While Greenland was established the polar bear as their national animal, we can't ignore the population of over 15,000 musk ox that call this region home. Plus, we don't really have a musk ox Pokemon. Some fun facts about the musky boys is that their coat is separated into two parts, the exterior coat and the quivet, or undercoat used for insulation. And if anyone is still playing Words with Friends, that's one of the few Q words that's not immediately followed by a U. So score yourself some free points on that one. This undercoat is known to be 8 times warmer than wool. Another interesting characteristic of the muskox is that their horns, while not as intimidating as other animals like bulls or meese, will continue to grow throughout their lives. With these factoids in mind, I got to work. I wanted to create a body that used the two wool patterns with icicles built out of the outer fur. Almost like the Pokemon is made at least partially of ice. The horns I also wanted to be icy with that rich blue that we see in the underside of glaciers. Do make sure to ask permission though before taking a look at a glacier's underside. It's rude otherwise and consent is king. I pictured the region that these Pokemon inhabit being so frigid that these all muskies are pretty dominant population-wise, with many trainers, farmers, and general denizens wearing coats made from their sheared wool of these bad boys. By the way, disregard the color of this Pokemon as we move through, because I found in making the shiny form that I actually really liked a darker look, and so swapped the two designs. Playing with color after the design is fully finished, I found to be a really enjoyable practice, as it gets me out of my own head on what the most logical design is. These are Pokemon. They don't have to be logical. Take, for example, the big bulbous body of this guy. While musk oxen are pretty hefty, I wanted to expand on the design to more fantastical proportions. I see a lot of Fakemon designs and have made a few myself that ultimately often end up just looking like a recolor of an existing Pokemon or animal, maybe with sharper teeth or different colored fur, but when you break down the shapes and redefine them, I feel that that is where you start to see a design look more like a Pokemon. Even on this design, I go through so many iterations on how I want the fur patterns or face to go, from more realistic engineering to building out way more and beyond the point of it being something that you can recognize as an animal. Also, you can find that middle ground to come back to something that makes sense for both fantastical and realistic. Muskrash, the woolly Pokemon. Their wool is used to make coats and blankets wide across their region. The people depend on this Pokemon for warmth and companionship, although when sheared, their bodies are known to be so cold that they can generate their own ice upon touch. This is counteracted by their wool, which maintains them at just above freezing. This next proposed region is a little difficult to explain, but would make a ton of sense for a Unnovan Legends game. That, of course, is a region based on Native American territory. Yeah, I've heard a few Fakemon regions based on the Wild West, but what if we go back even further beyond that European and Spanish settlement? I'm thinking of this sense of the Lakota people, who once maintained land through North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Montana. Even today, the Lakota people strive for independence in regaining their land taken by force and trickery. The biggest spit in the face that the American government of the time pulled on the Lakota people was allowing them control over their sacred Black Hills that were so important to their belief. Until valuable minerals were discovered there and the land was swiftly taken away. So while the Lakota people worked towards independence, as was initially outlined in the 1851 Treaty of Fort Laramie, they still have yet to be acknowledged as their own independent sovereign nation. For inspiration on a Pokemon design, I looked at a common myth to the Lakota people, that myth being of Iktomi and Shungmanitu. In the story of Iktomi comes this freshly dead coyote, said to have eyes as blue as the sky. Iktomi, as a hunter, carries it to his teepee, with the coyote actually just playing dead. Proud to be carried like a warrior from battle, and gleefully thinking to itself how much nicer it is to fool someone into carrying you rather than having to walk on your own feet. But once Iktomi takes the coyote Shungmanitu into the teepee to prepare it, the coyote springs back to life, jumping through the flame that has been prepared for it, and stating the lesson. Another day, my friend. Do not take too much for granted. Make sure the enemy is stone dead after you make the fire. There is a lot to take into account here, especially with Shungmanitu being representation of pride and trickery. He's referred to several times with his blue eyes, with his stony skin, and his tricky personality. I also wanted to tie in the history of the Lakota people, and so went in with this stone-style body, smooth and yet ragged, with these lines racing over its body to create an emaciated type of design, as though its spine and ribs were showing through its fur. In many beliefs, the coyote is a trickster figure, and the moon is seen as a powerful celestial body. In many indigenous traditions, like the Lakota, coyotes like Shungmanitu are complex characters, associated with creation, mischief, and transformation. The moon is often personified and can represent this different aspect of nature, of spirituality, and even of time. When combined, they can symbolize this story about transformation, about the balance of opposing forces, or the interconnectedness of natural and spiritual realms. So, given that these two in combination with one another can mean so many things, it feels just bred for a moon coyote to symbolize both the stories of Iktomi and the story of the Lakota people's fight for independence. Lakota, the opposing force Pokemon. The thorn-like chains that surround this Pokemon are said to be the spirits of the lost who attach themselves to the swift and powerful Pokemon to rise against those who have hurt them in previous lives. While the Pokemon is said to be aligned with trickery and deceit, it is truly a noble Pokemon, and one who seeks duty and righteousness over all else. Now, hear me out. I can't help but feel that as a California resident, that us on the West Coast have been kind of slighted here. See, when the Pokemon Company first decided with Unova to tackle the United States, they jumped over to New York, which tells me that the odds of them returning to the land of the free and the home of the Whopper to focus on the other coast is just not gonna happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been some amazing regions from other parts of the world, but the fact that Unova, when broken up, is Unova, is the United States of America, I think we already had our day in the sun. So for me, I wanted to imagine what a West Coast region may look like. If you followed the channel for long enough, you probably know about Costa West, my West Coast Fakemon region, but I wanted to think about what it would look like to start fresh and reconsider starters that honestly would better represent the various facets of California. Starting out, we all know that only Josh can prevent forest fires, but what about this funny little bear cub as a fire starter? I've been camping a few times this year, and each and every time I have encountered a black bear. They are insanely prevalent throughout the Yosemite area, and while raccoons and possums have the reputation of digging through trash, oh boy, bears have them beaten in spades. When was the last time the raccoon picked up the entire trash can and threw it across your driveway? Probably never, but for me and my cabin, every single time. The worst thing that you can see following a bear is not a machine gun or a tank. No, it's babies. Yes, a black bear on its own is skittish and downright adorable, but a mama bear with her babies in tow is terrifying. So keeping that relationship in mind, as well as Smokey the Bear's well-known representation in California, I had a few areas to work with. Oh, by the way, Smokey as the fire prevention mascot was actually replaced by Ember the Fox in 2021. And is her logo a house on fire? Smokey, if you're watching this, and I know you are, please come back. I'm sorry for what I said. You know I love you, baby. Incinecup, the flare Pokemon. They can't yet control their fire abilities and are known for causing small forest fires. This Pokemon does tend to panic at this and will work tirelessly to put it out. In the wild, they will stay by their mothers for their first year, with their parent being much better at stomping out the flames. Trainers must keep a watchful eye on this little Pokemon. Another animal common to California is our state bird, the quail. They're funny little guys who just love to dash out in front of my car when I'm driving the back roads at 90 miles an hour. Their key feature is the little feather warble on the top of their heads, and so I had to incorporate that in some way.
But Stern, we already have a grass starter based on a bird. Isn't this repeating the same steps that the Pokemon Company has already done?
I mean, yeah, but no. I mean, birds are such a wide variety of animal. It would be like saying Snivy and Turtwig don't work because they're both reptiles, or Froakie and Mudkip can't work because they're both amphibians. I'm going off the assumption that axolotls are amphibians. Give me a sec. I ain't reading all that, but you get my point. So I went in with this design also trying to capture that idea that we see in so many Pokemon starter sets. That being, one is cool, one is shy, and one is everyone's favorite D&D first edition class, girl. Fairly simple, like bird taking inspiration from a few other small little birds, but definitely something I ended up really enjoying. But then again, I'm a grass starter enjoyer, so it kind of just makes sense that I ended up really liking the grass starter design. Also, off topic, but I know I brought it up a moment ago. If you've ever hit a bird with a car, they are like 99.9% feathers. It feels like so many more feathers than could fit into a body that small. I was once driving through town when a massive bird flew, not in front of me, but into the side window of my vehicle. I thought it was gonna come straight through. I thought, wow, I've never seen that kind of bird around here before. It's huge. Definitely not the type of thing that I see around town all the time. This thing is special and weird. It survived. I want to make that clear. It survived. It flew off, clearly damaged, but it did survive. So that stuck with me long enough for me to then get where I was going, which was to my parents' house, where they were watching the news that a bird had escaped from the local zoo during a bird show, and people are just hoping it's okay. So I'm probably the only one who has the knowledge to be able to say this. It is not okay. Quaiflet, the leaf plume Pokemon. This Pokemon skitters about wildly. often only spotted by the large leaf-like plume sprouting from its head. They can be quite proud and can be easily captured by placing a mirror on the ground where one may be. They will be stuck staring at their own reflection until someone comes to capture them or remove the mirror. Okay, this next one is just kind of fun. Marine life is abundant in the Pacific Ocean and in California. We have quite a few research stations and aquariums that take advantage of the sea life so abundant and available. One animal that we have a ton of is this absolutely terrifying elephant seal. But given that starters are kind of meant to be a little cuter and elephant seals are not, I went with something more akin to the manatee, with the knowledge in mind that it would evolve that schnoz into those that make the elephant seal so famous.
But Stern, then it doesn't look like an elephant seal. Where's any semblance of nose? And manatees aren't even native to California.
Hey, shut up. Elephant seals aren't born with those trunk-like noses. No, those babies gotta be earned. As infants, elephant seals actually look no different than your standard seal. They're downright cute. They're adorable. I want 10. Put them in my car. I want to take them home. It's not until they grow up that they actually become so terrifying and off-putting. I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that their faces are the scary thing about them. They are, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that these behemoths are scary for so many reasons. They throw their weight around in these bloody territorial battles, and their teeth are razor sharp. Their calls echo and boom, and despite their tremendous size, they can somehow sneak up on people so easily. They beach themselves to bathe in the sun on beaches or on docks, and they will sit motionless. And as they sleep, they don't move. They just stay where they're at. So you don't even know that one is several inches from you, despite them being the loudest, heaviest, biggest thing that you've ever seen climb out of the ocean. Seafant, the blubber Pokemon. They float along carefree and live in large packs so as to be protected by the size and numbers of the others around them. Each pack is headed by a single most powerful final form of the Pokemon, with this version learning from their pack leaders to eventually take over the role or move on to a new pack where they will assume that role there. So who is your favorite? Who are you adding onto the team? And what real-world place do you hope to someday see as an explorable Pokemon region? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're there, consider stopping by the description, where you can find various ways to support this channel, allowing videos like this to continue to exist. Some of our higher-tier Patreon supporters, as they currently stand, are Dracone, Datha, Rob, Otuser, Topaz, Mario Panita, Chompy Catchan, Kobo4231, Elandriel, Sky, Yuja Sakaki, Drake Null, Agent Draco, Justin Grenier, Kaylin Cat, StixTV, and Dan Bush. And if you want to get a shout out at the end of videos just like this, as well as get access to these videos a little bit early, consider becoming a YouTube member for just $3 a month. I hope that I can see you there. Some of our YouTube members who currently stand are going to be It's Philo, Aggie Creepside, RJ, Nigel Winslow, Sean Williams, Moxie, The Silver Crescent, Shell Racer 8683, Reggie Hustle Jr., Lilo Tweeting, Zed Ravenmore, Somni Stars, Kaylin Cat, and of course the lovely, wonderful, beautiful Crimbo McSwizzle. I hope that I can see you there. I hope that I can see you on our Discord and potentially on our Wednesday live streams where we do commissions live. We have a lot going on, a lot of opportunities for you to jump in. My reason for that, I love being a part of this community as much as I loved being the one to create it. I love hanging out with you guys, talking to you, getting to be a part of the conversation. So hop into the Discord so that we can have some talk, I guess. We're officially in the part of the video that I'm no longer scripting, so word hard, but we have a Discord. Consider becoming a part of it. Sounds like you know where to find me. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye! Hi, I'm the Thesterninator, but my friends call me... My ring just went off that my mailman is here, and he can hear everything that I'm saying in this space. I'm gonna wait for him to go to finish recording this part. I don't know how far he has to get before he can't hear me anymore, but I'm just gonna wait him out.